Everyone. Welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of April 24th, 2024, regular meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And then I will read the land acknowledgement. The City of Albany recognizes that we occupy the land originally protected by the Confederated Villages of Lishan. We acknowledge the genocide that took place on these lands and must make strides to repay the moral debt that is owed to this indigenous people, specifically the Ohlone tribe. We thank them for their contributions, which have transformed our community and will continue to bring forth growth and unity. The City of Albany commits to sustaining ongoing relationships with the tribe and together build a better future for all that now make this their home. And with that, we'll move on to roll call.
Commissioner Libunau is present.
Here, present.
Commissioner Pilch.
Present.
Commissioner Waddy.
Here.
And Chair McLeod.
Present.
And Commissioner Moman has an excused absence. He
Okay.
had a work obligation he told us about.
Next, moving on to item 3, ex parte communications. Have there been any? None. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 4, consent calendar. And that would be the item 4-1, meeting minutes of March 27, 2024. Does anyone wish to pull any item from the consent calendar?
Just noting I have to recuse myself since I wasn't here.
Oh, from the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Oh, you could.
I presume, since I wasn't
Abstain
here.
on the-
So I'll abstain, yes.
Well, does that mean, okay, we'll have 2 abstentions, I suppose. Well, I don't have anything to correct in the minutes. Anyone else?
No, nothing.
Does any member of the public wish to pull the minutes from the consent calendar? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
I guess I'll second. Can we actually approve it with 2 votes?
So, no, what I would recommend is that we just continue this and put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
And knowing that you don't have any comments,
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I will note that the other commissioners could vote on this. They don't have to recuse or abstain, but you also do not have to vote yes.
Oh, why don't we just push this along to the next meeting? We'll continue this item until next meeting. All right. Item 5, announcements, communications, discussion. Anything from staff?
the most important announcement is we have a new planning and zoning commissioner. I don't know if you'd like to introduce yourself at all or your background.
Oh, for sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Libunau. I'm a graduate student at UC Berkeley. I actually live in the village of Albany, which is across the way. I'm pursuing my social welfare degree here. I'm also a Berkeley-based business owner, and I'm really grateful to be here, so I'm still learning. Give me a little bit of grace. But I have done a lot of work helping families in need in like San Francisco County as well as Alameda County. And yeah, I'm just grateful. Thank you.
Okay, glad to have you here. Okay, anything else to announce or?
Nothing from staff.
Yeah, staff, I think you did make an announcement to the council about reports that have been filed with the state recently. We have to do yearly reporting. Would you mind reading that?
I think you're probably referring to our annual report on the housing element.
Yes.
And yes, we are required to submit a report on April 1st, which we've done. It basically, it's a spreadsheet that details the number of planning applications received and approved, number of building permit applications received and approved, and then the number of number of housing units completed, new housing units completed. And I believe that for this last year, for the calendar year 2023, we had a number of, I don't remember the number of housing units that were approved, but I know at the planning stage, but I know the number of building permits issued were 10. So 10 new units for the calendar year 2023.
Thank you.
Okay. Next Item 6, public comment for persons desiring to address the commission on an item that is not on the agenda. Please note that each speaker is limited to up to 3 minutes, and the Brown Act limits the commission's ability to take and/or discuss items that are not on the agenda. Therefore, such items are normally referred to staff for comment or to a future agenda. Is there anyone in the public who would like to?
We do have 2 speaker cards that have been received. First, Stephen Albert, please.
Yes, good evening, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. I am Dr. Stephen Alpert. Last November, I received a notice of public hearing regarding minor additions to 919 Ventura Avenue, a private residence. I did not receive a similar notice of the 5-story mixed commercial residential building proposed for 1600 Solano Avenue, 400 feet from my residence. The minor additions on Ventura Avenue are of little consequence. In contrast, if built, the 5-story modern box proposed for 1600 Solano will drastically change the character of Solano Avenue. 2 commission hearings were held for 1600 Solano. I was not alerted to these meetings, given that I reside more than 300 feet from the building site. Whereas the city follows its approved ordinance of only alerting those within 300 feet of new construction, this practice is inappropriate for large multi-story projects which will impact all of Albany. I distributed a notice highlighting this issue to over 3,700 households in Albany. I spoke with almost 150 individuals, and all agreed that this practice limits public discourse, so this commission can propose and the council then pass through new building projects under the radar by purposely not notifying all Albany residents. I presented these issues at the April 1st and April 15th City Council meetings. During the April 1st meeting, Councilman Jordan stated, existing state laws would create legal exposure if the city adopted different rules for notification based on project size. Pursuant to a document record request, City Clerk Shu responded, no state laws support this assertion. Councilman Jordan is now the 2nd city official to invent and cite non-existent state laws to avoid addressing the issue of 300-foot notification. The first was Community Development Director Jeff Bond, who erroneously claimed that state law precluded Albany from issuing citywide alerts. A video review of the April 15 council meeting will confirm that Mayor Mickey did not so much as even acknowledge my presence during my in-person presentation or the supporting remarks made by 2 others. Why the city refuses to address the issue of public notification for new construction is very perplexing. I recognize that this commission is obliged to follow city ordinances. I also understand that the Brown Act prohibits extensive discussion on topics which are not in formal agenda. Accordingly, I'm requesting members of this commission to submit the issue of 300-foot notification for new construction as an agenda item for a future city meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to address the council, the commission.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
Tom Steemick? I'm sorry.
Hi, my name's Tom Steinmack. I live on Tulare Avenue. I haven't really attended many Albany Planning Commission meetings, but I do get Albany news over the internet. I'm here really just to express that I'm fully supportive of Dr. Alpert's suggestion that for major buildings, broader acknowledgement or for the public is well warranted. There's immense public effort goes into trying to get the community involved in the city. You go to the library, you get stuff. On the internet, you get stuff. Well, I think on major structures, and you guys would have to, or someone would have to decide what those are, but I would think anything over 3 stories might be considered a major project if we're talking about that type of construction. So anyway, that's my only comment, that I think this is a valid request and actually is very supportive with the city and gets the population more involved. So there you go. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Speaker, please. Another one, or public comment?
We have a hand raised in Zoom.
Okay.
So Bertha Magna, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Berta Magana. I'm an Albany small business owner, and I actually live within about 500 feet of the 1600 Solano Avenue property that's being spoken by my neighbors. And I totally support Dr. Alper and Tom's comments regarding this issue. I think there's also been other examples, if you do a quick search online, of other cities that have actually modified their ordinances to reconsider that for certain projects, the notification, public notification distance be modified so that it's not just within 300 feet, but up to 1,000 feet sometimes, depending on the project. And I think because of the location, since it's sort of this transition between commercial and residential, it would be really prudent to consider doing such a move there. So I completely support my neighbor's comments.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Are there any other speakers?
If anyone online would like to address the commission, please use the raise your hand function at the bottom of the screen. I'm not seeing any other hands raised.
Okay, then we will close item 6, public comment, and move on to item 7-1, planning application 24-006, 967 Talbot Avenue. And I understand Commissioner Wadi is to recuse herself. Yes, thank you. So this is design review request to construct an approximately 282 square foot, 19 foot 9 inch tall second story addition. Staff, do you have a presentation for us, please?
Okay, so yes, this is a design review for 967 Talbot Avenue. This is the project location. So we can see that it's 3 parcels away from the corner of Talbot and Marine Avenue. These 2 street view photos show the location of the property and their adjacent neighbors. So the project request consists of constructing an approximately 282 square foot second story addition at the rear of the existing home, the new 13 square foot entry porch and an enlarged 84 square foot deck. Also renovating the existing non-habitable ground floor to include a bedroom, laundry room, and stairway to the second story. And this last bullet point is not subject to design review. It's to construct a new accessory dwelling unit measuring around 295 square feet at the ground level below the second story addition. So that portion of the project is not subject to design review. So this is the project, the proposed project on the site plan. So basically the area that you see in green, that would be the second story addition, the area where the second story addition would go. The blue part are the overhanging eaves, and I'll be showing you the elevation drawing soon. And the dotted kind of like line kind of defines the expanded deck and stairs connecting the second story addition to the rear of the property. This is the existing home from the front, right, left, and rear, and the proposed elevation. So as you can see here on the elevations, the proposed construction is different from the mission-esque style of the current home. So while a portion of the proposed addition would match the existing architectural style of the home through the use of matching material like stucco, color flat roof, an appropriate fenestration pattern, the rear of the addition would be constructed in a more modern style with colors and materials that differentiate but also complement the existing architecture with colors and materials to reflect that style. This includes the use of vertically oriented board-on-board siding, as you can see here, an angled roof with large overhanging eaves, with natural wood interior ceiling, large angled transom windows right here, on the right and rear elevations, and a bold horizontal painted metal canopy right here over the sunken landing to the ADU. These are the proposed materials and colors, as you can see here. And so these section drawings, we included these drawings just to kind of highlight the, what the second story addition would look like from a section through the addition. So the kind of like the shaded area, you can ignore that. That's like existing space. So the one that is showing more in bolder colors is the rear addition. You can see the second story addition, and then underneath that, it's the ADU. So that's the view from the right side and the cross section from the rear through the addition. So this project is subject to exceptional design because it exceeds 45% in floor area ratio, which makes it subject to what we consider exceptional design as per our residential design guidelines. So yes, it complies with this as it proposes design treatments to retain the architectural style of the house while including high quality materials and colors to complement the existing architecture. So that's also included in the plans and the staff report. And on this project, staff has not received any correspondence. And finally, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission reviews and approves the proposed project subject to the findings and conditions of approval.
All right, thank you. Do commissioners have any questions for staff?
Do we want to invite the architect or the?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have
I
questions?
have questions for the architect. Or the applicant.
Okay, is the architect here? Would you care to, I don't know. I don't know if it matters. It's, used to do it over there, now everybody's doing it in front here, so.
Hi, my name is Andrew Woolman. I'm the applicant and architect.
Are you the homeowner as well?
No, the
Oh.
homeowner's here, Lisa.
Oh, okay.
Selling.
All right. Did you want to just give us a brief rundown of your project?
I think that Mira did a great job. I think.
Okay.
I'm willing to answer any questions you may have, so.
Okay. Commissioner Pilch, you had some questions?
Thank you, yes, and thanks for coming forward. What is the thinking behind having the addition be in a different style than the main house?
The existing house was built in, when was it built? 1936, and it's 2024. And so we were just trying to, give it a fresher take on what was there, maintaining some of the parapet lines of the existing house, and playing off some of the wood elements on the house, the wood windows, wood doors, and just introducing a little bit more of that to give the house a little more texture in the rear garden. And then we were trying to bring in more light into the space on the second floor in particular. So that's where the transom windows come in and the kicked up roof to bring some light into the space that the traditional punched window architecture of the home doesn't afford.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Do you have any questions for the applicant?
Just learning right now.
Okay, fair enough.
Still catching
I don't have any questions. Why don't we open it up to public comment on this item and see if we have anyone in the room or online who would like to speak about this project.
If anyone online would like to address the commission for this project on Talbot, please use the raise your hand function. And I'm not seeing any hands raised.
Okay, with that, we'll close public comment and move on to commission discussion. So, care to share your thoughts?
Sure, I can start out. The project seems perfectly fine, but my only question is about the different style, the addition being in a different style. Now, I know that I wish one of the commissioners was still here because you, Commissioner Waddy, and yourself, Chair McLeod, have thought that designs brought to us or projects brought to us in the past that have modern additions on traditional designs, you've been fine with them. But I've always, I didn't say anything at the last time this happened, but it does strike, I did want to say something and get your thoughts, Commissioner McLeod, about that here, because that's the only thing that I would, if I had my druthers, I'd rather the addition match the current style of the house. I know that what I don't like to see, I've seen some great additions out there that do match the existing style of the house, and they look great. I think we've all seen people put boxes on traditional style houses that look terrible because they have no design whatsoever. This has design, of course, and I'm of two minds about having this modern design attached to this 30s house, so that's my only hang up about this project. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on why architects, what are the architects' thoughts on something like this, if you would?
Okay, well, maybe I'll allow Commissioner Lubinow to make any, do you have any comments or thoughts?
I think for me, it really, I'm still learning more about this role. For me, if the owner is wanting to put this forth, and I don't see anything wrong with, maybe something a little different. That's just my opinion, and I'm also still kind of catching up, so.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's always an interesting discussion when we get something that's more modern attached to something very traditional. I'm always for more creativity, more interpretation, more bring things into the 21st century. Could you pull up the elevation sheet, please, with the renderings? I guess with the two long sides. Or that's fine, yeah. For me, where the design gets interesting is in the back. The front part of the house is not interesting. Our little bungalows with these little punched windows, they're not that creative. They're really not that interesting architecturally. And here somebody's gone to the effort to create something interesting in the back. And, at the same time, it is in the back. It's not really visible from the street. It's not going to be, out of character with the neighborhood because you really won't see it anywhere from the street. But personally, I like contrast. I like creating things that are more modern for the modern age. We live in, California in the 21st century. There's no reason why we have to imitate a 1930s, what I would call a dumb stucco box. What I like about this, and most of these are dumb stucco
Fans of
boxes.
McGregor's might differ with you, but go ahead.
I transformed my own McGregor, so that was my statement on McGregor. And here we are, the back addition, in some ways they are breaking the box, which I appreciate, with the roof line tilting up, bringing in light from another direction. I think that back bedroom could be a really fantastic space, the way light will play in there. I think it's going to be a really nice addition. Oh, if I had my choice, I'd see the rest of the house transform more like the back instead of the. But there are budget constraints and site and space constraints, so So personally, I like a new interpretation, a new way of thinking about how to occupy space and how to build buildings. So one thing I would say that bothers me a little bit is the left elevation, the new window placement in the back doesn't really seem to me to have any rhyme nor reason either to itself or to the existing part of the house. The north, yeah, left, north. I don't know, somehow if those windows lined up a little better, it would make more sense to me. But, you know, that's not a major point. It's also kind of in the back, side yard sort of thing. And I know why I looked at the plan, I know why they're placed the way they are with closets and bathrooms and things like that. But if there was a little more, that was a little more resolved or a little more lined up, I think I would like it better. But, you know, that would mean rearranging some interior spaces, and I don't think I'm going to go to bat for that idea. So in my thinking, this is a great little addition. So I support it.
Yeah, okay, you gave me some insight into your thinking. You are a fan of modern architecture. And,
I am, but
I am not opposed to modern architecture either. In fact, I think diversity in style is perfectly fine. It's fine to have lots of McGregors sprinkled with all kinds of other different designs. I think that's fine. It's just the contrast in the single building that strikes me, but I'm not trained as an architect, so. And I think I agree with Commissioner Libunau's sentiment that, you know, I'm not going to stand in front of what the owner wants to do here. So given our discussion, I'm fine moving forward.
Would you care to make a motion?
Yes, I will move. Let me just get the. I don't have the I just need the, oh, thank you. I will move planning application 24-006, design review for 967, or move the planning application for 967 Talbot Avenue. I'll move that we approve it.
Have a second? Okay, let's vote. Commissioner?
Yes.
Commissioner Libunau?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Your project has been approved. If there are story poles, they should stay in place for 14 days till the end of the appeal period. So thank you very much. Oh, and if I just make one more comment, I really appreciate the renderings. I really appreciate the, you know, the different views. We get a lot of projects that come as kind of building permit projects, plans, and that's not what we need. We need to see renderings like this, which are very nice and help us understand it very well. So thank you very much for that.
Agreed. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item 7-2, planning application 24-010, 1306 and 1308 Solano Avenue, use permit to convert an approximately 550 square foot ground floor commercial utility room at the rear of a two-story mixed-use building to a one-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment, et cetera, et cetera. Staff, do you have a presentation, please?
Yes, Chair. As you said, it's a use permit application and design review at 1306 and 1308 Solano Avenue. That's the project location. It's between Key Route and Pomona Avenue on the south side of Solano. So that's the property from street view, and its adjacent neighbors. Both, so I should say, on one side we have an apartment, multifamily residential, and on the other side we have commercial office. So the project request is to convert an approximately 550 square foot ground floor commercial utility room that's located at the rear of a two-story mixed-use building to a one-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment. Also enclosing and reducing an existing 89 square foot open air landing area located on the right, west side of the building, to add 48 square feet of livable space to the upper level apartment to accommodate a larger living room and other interior changes. So the project would result in a 4-unit building where you would have the 2 units at the rear being apartments, and then the 2 at the front being, would keep their current use, which is office commercial, and new windows and doors at the new apartment and enclosure. So that's the project, the site plan. So as you can see, shaded in green, it's the approximate area of the new lower level apartment. And kind of like dotted in purple is the open air landing, which exists at the upper level to be enclosed and reduced as well to add some square footage to the existing apartment on the upper floor. I should have said, the conversion of the ground floor commercial utility into residential, that's the portion of the project that requires a use permit because on the Solano Avenue district, in order to add a residential unit at the ground floor, you would require a use permit. And the portion of the project that requires design review is basically everything, but also the enclosure of the landing and adding that 48 square feet of livable space to the existing apartment. So we'll see what the project looks like. Here, these are the existing elevations, so there's no work proposed on the front elevation. So you see on the right west side elevation, you can see that opening is basically the open air landing from that side. And then you see a very kind of simple looking rear south elevation and then the left. The proposed elevation, so again, there's no work proposed on the north. You see now the right west elevation is enclosed and there's a window. So this project is not adding any square footage. There's no change in the building envelope either. And so the south elevation is really the one that you can see the more drastic changes, especially at the ground, at the lower level apartment where they're adding new windows, new doors, and this kind of like more dramatic, modern roll-up door. So we'll show some samples here in photographs and renderings. So basically, you can see that would be the rear of the building. So you see the proposed materials, which would be anodized aluminum windows and doors, the roll-up door, which is proposed at the kind of like the shared common space in the apartment, would allow the apartment to open to the rear yard. It's also adding some pavers at the rear yard to create a patio that would be accessible to all tenants in the building. And so this project exceeds 45% FAR, and therefore it's subject to exceptional design as well. Proposed design treatments to retain the architectural style, modern of the building, include using matching materials such as painted cement plaster, the walls, decorative, I'm so sorry, that's from another project. A new anodized aluminum windows and doors, a roll-up door at the rear with tempered glass lights, new windows to be recessed approximately 2 inches from the face of the building as well. Staff has not received any correspondence regarding this project proposal, and staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission reviews and approves the proposed project subject to the findings and conditions of approval.
Okay, do any commissioners have any questions for staff? Commissioner Pilch?
Yes, can you go over the zoning for this parcel and the why it's a use permit? Is that it? Yeah, what is the zoning and why this particular process for this project?
So it's zoned Solano commercial and ground floor residential in Solano Commercial District is a use permit process.
Okay, great, perfect. That's exactly what I needed. And yeah, I don't have any more questions for staff, but maybe for the applicant.
Okay, would the applicant like to give us a brief presentation of your project, please?
Hi, good evening. My name is Patrick Perez, the architect for the project. Again, thanks to Mira, did a fine job representing the project. My client is on the call. He purchased the building a few years back, and he owns and runs a research firm. and their goal is to use the top floor office space for his business. There's an existing apartment at the rear of this, and he wanted to renovate that. The lower level, I believe, was originally used as professional office space for a dentist, and that tenant has gone. And so there was some unused space at the rear of the building, used for utility and for storage. And there's a kind of a very sunny, nice backyard back there. And my client, saw this opportunity as a nice shared space for his tenants and for his employees. And understanding that he had this underutilized space, thought, why don't we, convert this into, it seemed to make the most sense to convert it into housing. And the idea is that you have this, as Mira said, a nice open connection to the backyard, and that is the sunny side. And just in keeping with the, kind of style of and era of this building, it is a very simple concrete stucco with some wood, and the roll-up door is meant to, kind of provide easy access, and hopefully when we get more sun, similar to last weekend, it'll be an amenity that'll be really appreciated. So that's the basic gist of the project.
Okay. Any questions for the architect? No? Commissioner Finch?
Yes, so the roll-up door, I think it's great, but it also, as someone who cares about energy efficiency, I worry, looking at it, I worry about its energy efficiency. So I assume those are single panes, or are they double pane windows?
It's a good question. So there are roll-up garage door manufacturers who will meet California Title 24, so will meet the energy efficiency. So there'll be insulated panels and then dual pane glass.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't know if that's required for this, if our code requires that for this project. Maybe staff can answer that.
We go through the standard energy calculations when we do the building permit phase, and usually a door like that would be required to be energy efficient. Perhaps there are other ways to work around it, but probably this is.
Gotcha.
Given that there's a product that's available, that would be the way to go.
Perfect. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
I had one quick question. It's not maybe relevant to proving your project, but the window on the property line is
Yes.
allowed because it's not living space behind it, because it's still a little bit of an outdoor.
If the question is regarding property line adjacency, is that?
Or no, just allowing a window on a property line, because
Yeah.
technically that's not
So
allowed.
technically, it's not a window. It's a 1-hour rated wall that happens to be transparent.
Okay, gotcha.
The building code is very peculiar. The wall itself has to be 1 hour rated. The glass partition can be 45 minutes, but the building code allows us to do that. It can't be operable.
Right.
It can't be used as a bedroom window. It can't be used as an egress window. It's just purely for light.
Okay, I was just curious. 'Cause-
Yeah. Expensive windows, expensive glass.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. Is it something like a glass block wall, or is it some other construction?
It's like the new offspring of the glass block. So it looks like a piece of glass, but it is made out of ceramic. And so it'll hold up to heat and hose test. So if the firefighters are, the whole idea with the 1 hour separation is that if our neighbor had a fire, it would take, in theory, an hour to spread to our building, and vice versa if we had a fire on our side. So that glass has to meet that specification.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Thank you. Any other questions for the? Okay, then we'll close this and open this to public comment. Are there any people in the audience or online who would like to comment on this project? Please do so now.
If anyone online would like to address the commission, please use the raise your hand function in Zoom. And I'm not seeing any hands raised.
Okay, well, we'll close public comment and have our discussion amongst the commissioners. So would anyone like to comment on this project? Commissioner Whiting, go ahead, please.
Sure, thank you. I don't have a whole lot of comments to provide, but just in short, I think this is the exact kind of projects that we want to see on Solano. To me, this is a way that, we're able to add kind of quote-unquote gentle infill while still preserving a strong commercial pedestrian-oriented commercial corridor of Solano, which is everything that we wanted, which again, I think was really the intent behind the rule that we have of saying you need a use permit for ground floor residential. I don't think we actually forecasted that you'd still keep the commercial at the front. So if there's any opportunity to amend our controls later on to maybe say, if it's at the rear, so long as there's still a commercial store at the front, it maybe doesn't need a use permit. Because again, I think the intent here was we don't want, all of our storefronts being taken up by residential uses, but obviously this doesn't do that. And it's at some level, a little no harm, no foul, putting it back there. I think this is great project, and I think it's well designed. So I have no issues, and I know we're not ready to maybe make a motion, but I'm happy to make one when that time comes. Thanks.
Okay, well, let's see if there's any more comment first. Annie, would you like to comment, or?
I mean, I agree with what you said.
Pilch?
And I'll third what Commissioner Wadi says as well, and happy to see more us adding another housing unit. And it, as I'm thinking of downsizing myself, it looks like a place where I'd like to live. So maybe I'll contact you. Yeah, I approve. I like the project.
All right.
And agree that more of this we could do with less process would be great.
Yeah, I also support the project. I think it's terrific having another dwelling unit, another place for people to live. I think it's really helpful and still preserves the storefronts or commercial spaces, so that's great. And I think it's well designed. It seems to make a lot of sense to take what would otherwise be just storage space and create a nice little apartment for somebody. So we have a motion.
With that, I'm happy to make a motion to approve item 7-2, planning application 24-010 at 1306 to 1308 Solano to approve the use permit as proposed.
I'll second.
Second, okay, we'll go to vote. Commissioner Liebenow?
Yes.
Commissioner Wadi?
Yes.
Commissioner Pilch?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well, that it's approved 4-0. I don't think, is there an appeal period for this one as well, or?
There is a 14-day appeal period on anything you do.
Anything you do? Okay, well, sure it will be fine. No story polls.
No story polls required.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to our next item, 7-3, planning application 24-012, 1125 Key Route Avenue. Variance, use permit, and design review to construct a new 292 square foot second story addition at the right rear side, et cetera. Staff, do you have a report for us?
Okay, so yes, so this application, that's the project location. You can see it's in that odd-shaped kind of block between Key Route and Santa Fe, Dartmouth, and Pomona. So this project, so that's the street view, and you can see the project site and its neighbors. It's all single-family residential, as you can see. So the project request is to construct a new 292 square foot second-story addition at the rear right southeast side of the residence, enclose and expand the existing rear porch, which is a covered porch, by 23 square feet at the rear left northeast side of the first story. Construct a very small 20 square foot first story addition at the front right southwest of the home, some stairs and landing at the rear of the enclosed porch, and new windows and doors throughout. So we will see, so these are the entitlements required. Use permit is required to vertically extend the existing rear and right side walls for the second story addition, which has right now the existing non-conforming setbacks are 13 feet at the rear yard and 2 feet and 11 inches side yard. So because they're non-conforming, they're extending them vertically, this requires a use permit. And a variance to enclose and expand the covered porch to create a 142 square foot addition of livable space, which would be located at 7 feet and 6 inches from the rear property line. So we should clarify that this enclosure is not making the nonconformance worse. It's keeping the existing rear property line, the rear setback. The only addition would be on the right, the left side. So it's not making the nonconformance worse. And design review for the overall proposed construction. So we will see here visually what this project is proposing. Ooh, something happened there, sorry. So basically the blue part is the enclosed existing porch, which is not changing. It's keeping its same footprint. The purple part is the addition to the porch. So the whole thing is going to be enclosed and added as habitable space to the house. And the green area is the second story addition, which is keeping as well the current setbacks on the side and the rear. And you can see kind of like the orange dotted line is the property line. As you can also see here, the lot is substandard. So the lot width is 30 and the average lot depth is 66. So our code requires a minimum lot width of 35 and an assumed kind of lot depth of 100 feet, and this lot is substandard. So these are the existing elevations. You can see that's a very modest, it's a small home, and these are the proposed elevations which would make this into a more, in staff's opinion, livable home. It's adding, I think it's adding, let me take a look. It's adding one, this would result in a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 1,393 square foot home with a maximum height of 22. So it's still a relatively, comparatively, with other projects in the surrounding neighborhood, it's pretty comparable. It's pretty similar in terms of size and scope. These are the proposed rendering, materials and colors. And so basically what this proposes is to keep the current architectural style, the colors and materials, high quality windows with recessed, with 2-inch recess as well to match existing, because this also, like the previous projects, this project also is subject to exceptional design. So as I said, it will use matching materials such as decorative clay tiles at the new gabled roofs, painted stucco walls, with exterior doors, fiberglass windows, and wood trim. And the new windows would be recessed approximately 2 inches from the face of the building. So in our analysis, in staff's analysis, basically, staff is supportive of the variance, basically because the lot has unique characteristics as it's substandard in size and depth and width. In every single aspect, it's substandard. And the strict application of the development standards for lots similarly zoned would prevent current and future residents of the property from constructing a home with similar footprint as enjoyed by other homes in the vicinity. So in that aspect, we also, the portion of the project that would be subject to the variance is the porch, which is really not being expanded towards the rear. So there wouldn't be an additional impact on the rear neighbor. And also the staff is supportive of the use permit, which of course, as the code says, Planning and Zoning Commission, can approve if they think that it's a good design, of course, a conditional use permit to extend vertically non-conforming setback. And let's move forward. We did not receive formal correspondence about this project. However, staff received a call prior to formal application submittal from a nearby neighbor with questions about the proposed construction. So basically, they were wondering what the construction was about, and we roughly explained to them what we knew at that time, what the scope of work would be, but of course, it was still in the works, so we told them that they were, more than welcome to come to the permit center to talk to us and to see what the status was, and of course, notices would be sent out for them to know, and that the plans would be also posted online. We did not receive any further comments. In staff, with that, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission reviews and approves the proposed project subject to the findings and conditions of approval.
All right, thank you for the presentation. Do commissioners have any questions for staff? Seeing none. Do the applicants want to make a brief presentation?
I'm Robert Pinnell from Jarvis Architects, the applicant on this, and the clients, Emily and Josh, are here. This is a really small house, and they're a family of 4, and it's a 2-in-1, very badly remodeled over the years. It's got, everybody thinks it's a Spanish house because it has tile on the front and some arches, and that's absolutely all it has. And so what we're working with a limited budget was how to make it 3 bedrooms instead of 2, and have an additional bathroom. Normally, in a normal sized lot, you might be able to squeeze it out a little more on the property, but that wasn't here. So we went up and worked with Mira on this to find all the little bits and pieces, and we've got just about every foot we could find on this. But what we were working to do was actually create the house that everybody thinks it is. Again, it's got 2-piece tile roof in the front and a couple of arches. And we played with that on the front, where we extended one of the rooms 21 inches so that it's a decent size. And then on the rear portion with the addition, gave the appearance of a tile roof. Albany has lots of tile edge roofs, especially at the corner of Key Route and Washington, that actually look nice. And you can go over to England and they put tiles all over the edges of roofs and just have composition in the middle, and it really creates a happy house. Right now, Commissioner McLeod was talking about the box. We were trying to break the box as much as we could and still stay with the budget, and had a little bit of fun with the roof. And you can see the original parapet kind of swoops down on the south side, because we were dealing with the 1 1/4 inches of setback we had to do from the original construction to the new construction to meet the 3-foot side yard. So we're having as much fun as we could have with a limited budget and limited site.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is there any public comment? Anyone online, or?
If anyone online would like to address the commission, please use the raise your hand function in Zoom at the bottom of the screen. I'm not seeing any hands raised.
Okay, any other questions for the architect? No?
I have a quick question. Just confirming that I know you have a spec here that it's clay tile roof for the new tile. Is it real clay tile, not a synthetic or fiberglass?
No, we're looking for clay tile. It won't be old and wonderful like they are, but clay tile.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, and no concrete.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll close public comment and move on to commissioner discussion. Anyone have any comments?
Sure. Well, I feel for you with the constraints of this lot and the project, and I think it's perfect. I love it. I'm ready to approve. That's it.
I'm happy to jump in. A couple of thoughts originally. There's a request for a variance here, and to me, part of the standard in looking for a variance is, is there some sort of something unique going on about the property? And to me, this is a very substandard size lot for Albany. It's a lot shorter than normal properties are. It's an unusually shaped lot, so you kind of can't build a normal sort of rectangular, right-angled, cornered property, and it makes it a lot harder when you have your, required rear yard line that comes in at an angle that just doesn't quite gel with a normal house shape. So I think there are a lot of justifications here for granting a variance, and I would agree that I think you've put the bits and pieces in as appropriate of places as you can, given all of those limited constraints for the lot. And again, this is a small house, and one of the principles, in the Albany design guidelines is about, figuring out ways to kind of keep existing homes but make them livable for sort of the next generation and usable for contemporary standards. And sometimes I always get a little nervous when you see these small houses on small lots when they come in, because I do think it requires sort of good architecture and attention to design details to execute it well. And I know Jarvis Architecture, I know you guys do a good job working in these kind of tight situations in sort of these denser areas, and I have confidence that this will be executed well, and I think the design is done well, and you've figured out the right balance. So again, for all of those reasons, I think I am supportive of all of the findings that we need to make to approve the variance and all of the other related permits.
Okay, thank you. Any comments?
Yeah, I mean, Mira had said it earlier, is that it matches neighboring units, and so it just makes sense for me, so I support it as well.
Yeah, and looking at the lot, yeah, it's very small. I think it was, says here, like under 2,000 square feet. Yeah, that's really small. And where you're filling in, it's really, doesn't have an impact. I agree with the staff's comments about it not really changing the impact to the neighbors or anything. And notwithstanding my comments earlier about contrast and doing things more modern, if people want to do something like this where you are matching the style, I think you've done a very good job with it. It's not easy to adapt these little structures and make them more livable, but it seems like you've done a good job with that. And visually, I think it will fit right in, and it's going to be one of those things it's actually going to look better than before, so that's always a compliment. So it's a job well done, architect. So I'm ready to support this project as well.
Okay, I can move the planning application 24-012, which includes a variance and use permit.
You have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We'll go to vote.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I'm a parent. I understand the need for space.
We've all been there in Albany.
Oh, yes.
And in the village, maybe it's even tighter. I don't know. But okay, Commissioner Wadi?
Yes.
Commissioner Pilch?
Yes.
Commissioner Liebenow?
Yes.
And I will vote yes as well. So your project is approved. Let me
Story polls.
formally, planning application 24-012, 1125 Key Route Avenue has been approved. If you have story polls up, please leave them up for the appeal period for 14 days. Okay. Next, moving on to item 8, new business. Do we have anything on the calendar?
No new business?
No new business. Item 9, next meeting, May 22nd.
If I could, maybe staff could just give us an update on the Housing Commission and where we are, the status of that?
Thank you for asking, and the City Council has approved the creation of a Housing Advisory Commission. They have opened the nomination period, so people have wished to apply to serve on the Housing Commission. That would be great. I think in particular, we're trying to get more tenants interested in serving on the committee. So if you are a tenant or you know people who rent in town, please do encourage them to apply. There's a subcommittee of the City Council, and I believe it's Councilmember Tiedemann and Councilmember Hanson Romero who are serving as a subcommittee to create a slate of candidates that's a balance of rental property owners and tenants, so that it's hopefully a committee that can balance out and hear both sides and have a good discussion about some of those difficult issues.
What will their charge be?
essentially to help us evaluate and take comments on housing element policies and programs. In the near term, highest priorities seem to be tenant protections. So just cause eviction, rent registries, those kinds of things would be the first thing out of the box.
So helping to sort of develop, sort of put some meat on the bones to the policies that we're required to implement as a result of the housing element.
Right.
Yeah, that we have adopted, but need
Yes.
to
Yeah,
develop.
now it's time to do, the adoption was a lot of work, but now we have to do the real
The
work.
meat on the bones. Okay, okay, great, thanks.
And so it sounds like the council member subcommittee is taking applications and evaluating them and trying to put together a slate. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Got it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And UC Village residents are also welcome.
Yes.
Of course.
Encouraged to apply.
Thank you.
You know what
Yes, please.
I do, actually. I'm curious, when is the application due? Is there like a set timeline?
It's just open until filled, so the sooner the better.
Gotcha.
Okay, any other questions or items? Okay, then we will move on. Next meeting, May 22nd. I guess we're missing our first meeting in May.
We're just continuing not to have a high volume of applications that rise to the level of coming to the commission, so.
And I will have to be absent for that meeting. It's a when, yeah, I will.
Okay, well, with no further ado, we'll adjourn our Planning and Zoning Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8:03 or 2. Okay, thank